Okay, so um, let me do this for my boys, Sean Murray, and everybody else who um, is responding to my question. I put a question on Facebook, not a question, but I posted that Thomas Hitman Hearns would be the fighter most likely to beat Floyd Mayweather Jr. And I challenged everyone to people who knew or know a little bit about boxing to, um, if they disagree, um, to tell me how Floyd Mayweather will win. But I got people doing stuff like saying, "Oh, Hearns wouldn't beat Mayweather because Hagler beat him or Leonard beat him." But that's not answering the question. The question I asked you was, how would Mayweather beat uh, Thomas Hearns? I mean, you wouldn't tell me that Muhammad Ali wouldn't stand a chance at not beating George Foreman because he lost to Joe Frazier, and Joe Frazier lost to George Foreman. We all know how that turned out. So what I was looking for was more of, if you thought Mayweather would win, give me a strategy. How would he win? Only person who really gave me kind of a strategy, my boy Sean Murray. So Sean, have a seat. Let me give you a little bit of education on boxing. This is boxing 101. The reason why I picked Tommy Hearns to beat Floyd Mayweather Jr. over most fighters is because the boxing history has shown us anything. It's shown us that the way you beat incredible speed is with height and reach. Thomas Hearns was able to have so much success against Sugar Ray Leonard, one of the fastest fighters in history, because of his height and his reach. Sugar Ray Leonard in 1981 tried out boxing Tommy Hearns for the first 6 rounds and got outboxed thoroughly by Hearns, and he was stunned. He didn't know what to do. But he couldn't figure out that it was because Hearns stood so far away from him. His speed was nullified. I remember when Sugar Shane Mosley was in his prime. He was 37-0 with 36 knockouts, beating everybody, beat Oscar De La Hoya. And it was Vernon Forrest who he couldn't get by. Vernon Forrest beat him 2 times in a row. And the reason why Vernon Forrest was able to beat him is because height beats speed. Roy Jones Jr. blown through it like a hot knife through butter. But who was it that got him? Antonio Tarver. Why? Tarver was tall, long, stood way back, flicked that jab out there in time to Roy Jones. Those are the guys who beat really, really, really fast fighters. The reason why I picked Hearns to beat Mayweather is because when you look at Floyd Mayweather Jr., his 2 greatest weapons, his check left hook and his lead right hand, when he puts the ball of his foot on the ground and throws that lead right hand and ducks under before you can throw a punch, those are his 2 biggest weapons. And those weapons are predicated on the fact that his opponent is trying to get close to him. He's able to hit people with that who keep trying to get close to him. In Thomas Hitman Hearns, he would be fighting a fighter who, with an 82-inch reach, who doesn't want to get close to you. He wants to stand as far away from you as he can so he can time you with his right hand and throw that long cobra-like jab. That's what Sugar Ray Leonard couldn't figure out in 81. Angelo Dundee had to make the adjustment because Sugar Ray just thought he would outspeed Tommy. But Tommy's, as he found out, was just as quick as he was, and so long that anytime Ray tried to jump in, he got hit with that quick jab. So Mayweather would have a difficult time landing a check left hook at 5'8" on a guy 6'2", who's standing halfway across the ring, and has a reflexes like a cobra. That's what they call it in the Motor City Cobra. So his 2 biggest weapons would be nullified. Second, one thing that you need to understand about Hitman Hearns, he lost 4 fights in his career. 5th when he was really old, but he hurt himself and shouldn't have been in there. But the 4 fights he lost were fights where the opponent turned the fights into absolute brawls. Sugar Ray Leonard, after the first 6 rounds, Angelo Dundee said, "You're blowing it, son, you're blowing it." And he had to go and turn the fight into a brawl and throw bombs to get Hearns out of there. Marvelous Marvin Hagler, he told Emmanuel Stewart years later, say, "I knew from the get-go, if I was going to beat this dude, I had to come out and brawl, because ain't no way I'm outboxing this dude." Iran Barkley just wished upon a star and threw a lucky left hook and beat Hearns the first time and brawled and made it sloppy the second time. That's how he beat Tommy Hearns. Boxers didn't beat Thomas Hearns. He was too good of a boxer. You had to get it ugly, messy, make it a brawl to beat him. Now, the reason why Sugar Ray Leonard beat him, like I said, is because he turned it into a brawl. He walked through fire. He got his face messed up. He took a lot of punches, but he had the punching power to stop Hearns, because Leonard was a dog. He could go get you when he had to. He was a pretty boy, but he was a dog. The question that I have, if Mayweather found himself down by points to Hearns, would he have that dog in him to go after Tommy Hearns, to throw bombs? Would he have enough punching power? Yeah, Marvin Hagler had enough punch power to stop Tommy Hearns. He was a full-fledged middleweight. Tommy Hearns was a junior middleweight trying to come up in weight. Sugar Ray Leonard was a brutal puncher. So, of course, he had enough punching power to stop Tommy Hearns. But I'm not so sure Floyd Mayweather would. I don't think he would outbox Tommy Hearns. Tommy was too long. He was too active. And he wouldn't stand around and wait. So that's why I think Hearns would beat Floyd Mayweather Jr. It's just a bad matchup. Too much height. Too much of his own speed, too many weapons that nullify little, short, fast fighters. So if you think I'm wrong, hit me up.